It looked like an easy victory until they learned he was the last champion of mankind. The damaged freighter spun slowly through empty space. Its hull was torn open in 3 places. Smoke leaked from the broken engines. Inside the ship, emergency lights blinked red in the darkness. Commander Ralkesh watched the human vessel through the view screen of his warship. His scaled lips curved into something like a smile. Humans were rare these days, very rare. Earth had fallen 300 years ago. Most humans were dead or enslaved across the galaxy. Finding one alive and alone was like discovering treasure. Send the boarding team, Ralkesh ordered. His voice was deep and cold. I want that human alive. The arena crowds will pay well to see one fight. 6 Vorthak soldiers flew across the empty space between the 2 ships. They wore heavy armor and carried plasma rifles. They cut through the freighter's outer door with laser torches. Inside they found bodies, 4 dead crew members, all aliens, and in the cargo hold, sitting against a wall with blood on his face, they found him. The human was maybe 30 years old, maybe 40. It was hard to tell with humans. He had black hair and dark eyes. His clothes were torn and dirty. Blood dripped from a cut above his left eye. He did not try to run. He did not try to fight. He just sat there, breathing slowly, watching the soldiers with calm eyes. On your feet, human, the lead soldier growled. The man stood up slowly. He was not very tall, not very big. He looked tired and hurt. The soldiers laughed. This would be easy. They brought him to the Vorthak's warship in chains. Ralkesh looked at the prisoner with interest. The human stood quietly, not speaking. His eyes moved around the command deck, taking in everything. Ralkesh noticed this but thought nothing of it. What is your name? Ralkesh asked. Human was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. Tay. His voice was rough, tired, but there was something else in it. Something hard. Tay, Ralkesh repeated, tasting the strange sound. Do you know what happens to humans we find? I can guess, Tay said. The arena, Ralkesh said, walking around the prisoner in a slow circle. Prime Station Coulter, thousands come to watch lesser species fight for their entertainment. You will fight, human. You will bleed, you will probably die. But you will give the crowds a good show. First, Tay said nothing. He just kept breathing, kept watching. The warship traveled for 2 days to reach Prime Station Coulter. During that time, Tay was kept in a small cell. He was given water and thin soup. He did not complain. He did not ask questions. He sat in the corner and waited. When they arrived at the station, guards dragged Tay through long metal corridors. The station was huge. Thousands of beings lived and worked there. Most of them were Vorthak, but Tay saw other species too. Krell, Skrell, Bruthin. And then he saw something that made him stop. A human woman. She was carrying medical supplies down a side corridor. She wore gray slave clothing. Her hair was pulled back in a simple tie. She was thin, like she did not get enough food. When she saw Tay, her eyes went wide. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Move, a guard snarled, pushing Tay forward, but Tay had seen her. Another human alive here. They brought him to the arena holding cells. These were large cages built into the rock beneath the fighting floor. Dozens of prisoners were kept here. Most were criminals. Some were captured soldiers, all were waiting to fight. The guard threw Tay into a cell with 5 other prisoners. They were different species, big ones, strong ones. They looked at Tay with hungry eyes. A human was weak, soft, easy to hurt. Fresh meat, one of them said. It was a Krell, huge and covered in thick scales. I think I will break him before they even put him in the arena. Tay sat down in the corner. He leaned his head back against the cold wall. He closed his eyes. Did you hear me? Human, the Krell growled, moving closer. Tay opened his eyes. He looked at the Krell for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice quiet. Touch me and you will die. The Krell laughed. The other prisoners laughed too. But something in Tay's eyes made the Krell stop. Something cold, something dangerous. Krell decided to wait. That night Tay heard footsteps outside his cell. He opened his eyes and saw the human woman standing in the shadows. She looked around nervously, then whispered through the bars. You are human, she said, her voice shook. I have not seen another human in 5 years. Tay sat up. What is your name? Hi, she said. I work in the medical bay. They make me fix the fighters after their matches. She paused. What is your name? Tay, Tay, she repeated, tears filled her eyes. You should not be here. You should run. Escape, they will kill you in the arena. I cannot run, Tay said simply. Then you will die, Hai said. Her voice was full of pain. That is what happens here. I have seen it 100 times. Strong fighters, brave fighters, they all die. Eventually, Tay was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, are there other humans here? Hai nodded. A few, maybe 20 on the whole station. All slaves, all afraid. She wiped her eyes. I have a son. His name is Jin. He is 10 years old. He was born here. He has never seen Earth, never seen a free human. Jin, Tay said softly. That is a good name. It means truth, Hai said. I him that because I want him to know the truth about our people. That we were not always slaves, that once we were free, we will be free again, Tay said. Hai laughed, but it was a sad sound. You talk like the old stories, like the heroes from Earth, but those heroes are dead. Earth is dead. We are all that is left. Tay stood up and walked to the bars. He looked at Hai through the metal. Not all the heroes are dead. Something in his voice made Hai stop. She looked at him carefully. At his scars, at his eyes, at the way he held himself. Who are you? She whispered. Before Tay could answer, footsteps echoed down the corridor. Hai's eyes went wide with fear. I have to go. If they catch me here. She turned to leave, then stopped. Tomorrow they will make you fight. 3 Skrell hunters, they are fast. They are mean, please try to live. Then she was gone, running quietly into the shadows. Tay stood at the bars for a long time, looking into the darkness. Tomorrow he would fight. Tomorrow the galaxy would begin to remember what humans could do. Tomorrow they would learn that Earth's champions were not all dead. Not yet. He touched the scars on his arms. Old scars, battle scars, scars from a war that ended 300 years ago, a war that took everything from him, his home, his friends, his purpose, but maybe he thought maybe he could still fight for something. For Hai, for Jin, for the 20 scared humans hiding in the station. For all the humans scattered across the stars, trying to survive. Tay sat back down and closed his eyes. He would need rest, Tomorrow the arena would see what a true champion could do. Tomorrow they would learn. The arena roared with noise. Thousands of beings filled the stone seats that circled the fighting floor. They shouted and screamed and laughed. They had come to see blood. They had come to see death. Tay stood in the center of the arena floor. The sun was bright above. The sand beneath his feet was old and stained dark from years of fighting. He wore simple cloth pants and nothing else, no armor, no weapons, just his body and whatever he could find. Across the arena, 3 metal gates opened. The Skrell hunters came out. They walked on 4 legs like animals, but their front arms held weapons, sharp blades that curved like claws. Their skin was gray and tough like leather. Their eyes were yellow and hungry. The crowd cheered louder. This would be good entertainment. 3 armed hunters against 1 unarmed human. It would be over in minutes. In the crowd, Commander Rilkesh sat in his private box. He drank wine and smiled. Watch closely, he told his officers. This is what happens to humans who think they can survive in our galaxy. High above the arena, in the medical bay, Hai watched through a window. Her hands shook. Her son Jin stood beside her, his young face pressed against the glass. Is that the man you told me about? Jin asked. The one from last night. Yes, Hai whispered. Do not watch, Jin, this will be terrible, but Jin did not look away. Neither did Hai. They had to watch. They had to see. Down in the arena, the Skrell hunters spread out. They moved fast, circling Tay from 3 sides. They made clicking sounds to each other, planning hunting. Tay turned slowly, watching all 3. He did not run. He did not panic. He breathed slowly and waited. The first hunter attacked. It jumped forward with incredible speed, its blade swinging down at Tay's head. The crowd leaned forward. This was it. The killing blow. But Tay was not there anymore. He moved sideways so fast it was almost too quick to see. The blade cut through empty air. Tay's hand shot out and grabbed the hunter's arm. There was a sharp crack. The hunter screamed. Tay had broken its arm in one move. Before the hunter could fall, Tay pulled the blade from its hand. Now he had a weapon. The second hunter charged from behind. Tay spun and threw the blade. It flew straight and true, burying itself in the hunter's throat. The creature fell, choking on its own blood. The third hunter hesitated. This was not how humans fought. Humans were supposed to be slow, weak, easy to kill. Tay walked toward it. His movements were calm, controlled, like he had done this 1,000 times before. The hunter backed away, then suddenly charged. It was fast, very fast, but Tay was faster. He dropped low, rolled under the swinging blade, and came up behind the hunter. His arm wrapped around its neck. There was another crack. The hunter went still. The whole fight had taken less than 2 minutes. The arena was silent. Thousands of beings sat in shock, unable to believe what they had just seen. Human and unarmed human had killed 3 Skrell hunters like it was nothing. Then the crowd exploded. Half of them cheered, half of them booed, and threw trash onto the sand. They had bet money on the hunters. They had lost. In his private box, Rilkesh stood up. Slowly, his wine glass fell from his hand and shattered on the floor. What? He whispered. What was that? His second officer spoke quietly. That was not normal human combat, Commander. I can see that, Ralkish snapped. Find out who this Tay really is. Search the databases, old Earth records. Everything. Down on the arena floor, guards came out to remove the bodies. Tay stood still, breathing hard but not hurt. Blood covered his hands, but none of it was his. He looked up at the crowd, at all the aliens who had come to watch him die, and he showed no expression at all. They dragged him back to his cell. The other prisoners moved away from him. They had watched the fight on view screens. They were afraid now. The Krell who had threatened him the night before pressed himself against the far wall. An hour later, Hai came to the cell. She carried medical supplies, but Tay had no wounds to treat. She stared at him through the bars. How? She asked. How did you do that? Tay sat in his corner. I was trained. All humans were trained to fight, Hai said. We learned to defend ourselves. But what you did, that was something else. Tay was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, there was a program before Earth fell. They called it the Champions Program. They took the best fighters, the best soldiers. They trained us for 20 years, changed our bodies, made us faster, stronger, better. Hai's eyes went wide. The champions, she whispered. I thought that was just a story. Legend. It was real, Tay said. 100 of us. We were supposed to protect the evacuation ships when the Vorthak came. We were supposed to buy time for the civilians to escape. What happened? Hai asked. They all died, Tay said, his voice flat, all 99 of them fighting to the last. I was not there. I was on a mission in another system. By the time I got back, Earth was gone. My team was gone. Everyone was gone, so you are the last one, Hai said softly, the last champion. I am the one who was not there when it mattered, Tay said. There was pain in his voice, old pain. Deep pain. Hai reached through the bars. She touched his hand. You are here now, that matters. Before Tay could answer, footsteps echoed down the corridor. A tall alien in expensive robes appeared. He had 4 arms and skin like polished stone. This was Vex, the arena master. The human, Vex said, looking at Tay with greedy eyes. You have made me very rich today. Very rich indeed. The betting houses are going crazy. Everyone wants to see you fight again. I am not here to make you rich, Tay said. Vex laughed. You are here to do whatever I say. You are property, merchandise, and right now you are the most valuable merchandise in my arena. He turned to the guards. Move him to a private cell. Feed him well. I want him healthy for his next fight. What will you make him fight? I asked. Quietly, Vex smiled. Something bigger. Something better. The crowd wants a real challenge. He looked at Tay. In 3 days you will fight Brudok. He is the arena champion. He has never lost. Not once in 5 years. The guards pulled Tay from the cell and took him to a different part of the holding area. This cell was larger, cleaner. It had a real bed and better food, but it was still a cage. That night, after the guards left, Tay heard a whisper from the next cell. You should not have fought so well. Tay looked through the bars. In the next cell was an old alien covered in scars. His race was hard to identify. Too many wounds had changed his appearance. Why? Tay asked. Because now they will never let you go, the old alien said. Now they will keep you fighting until something finally kills you. You should have died quickly today. Would have been better, maybe, Tay said, but there are 20 humans on this station who need hope. They need to see that we are not weak, that we can still fight. The old alien was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You fought with old guard technique. I saw it. I recognized the style." Tay turned to look at him. "You know old guard combat. I fought against them once," the alien said. 50 years ago. Before I was captured, I was a soldier. In the outer wars, we faced human soldiers on Proxima 7. They killed half my unit before we retreated." He paused. "I thought all those fighters were dead." "They are," Tay said. "Except me." "Then the fools," the alien said. "They do not know what they have captured. They think you are just a lucky human. But I know better. You are a weapon. Weapon built to fight armies." "I was," Tay said quietly. "Now I'm just a man trying to stay alive." "No," the alien said. "You are more than that. I saw how you looked at the crowd today. You are planning something." Tay did not answer, but the old alien was right. He was planning. Every fight was a chance to show the galaxy that humans were not finished. Every victory was a message to the scared humans hiding across the stars. A message that said, "Do not give up. We are still here. We are still fighting." 3 days later, Tay would face Brudak, the undefeated champion, and the galaxy would learn another lesson about what humans could do. Tay won his next fight, and the one after that, and the one after that. In 2 weeks he fought 5 times. Each time they gave him harder opponents. Each time he won, the crowds grew bigger. News of the human fighter spread across the station. Beings came from other sectors just to see him. They called him the Ghost of Earth. They said he moved like smoke and struck like lightning. They bet fortunes on him, but Commander Ralkash was not happy. He sat in his office and watched recordings of Tay's fights over and over. Something was wrong. Humans should not fight like this. They should not move like this. They should not be this dangerous. "What did you find?" he asked his research officer. The officer pulled up old files on a display screen. "Not much, Commander. Earth's records were mostly destroyed 300 years ago. But I found fragments, references to something called the Champions Program." He paused. "It was classified top secret, but from what I can tell, Earth created super soldiers, enhanced fighters. They called them champions." "How many?" Ralkish asked. "The records say 100 all dead. They died defending Earth during the final battle." "All dead," Ralkish repeated slowly. He looked at the screen, showing Tay's last fight. "And GT, are you sure?" And GT, that is what the records say, Commander." Ralkish stood up. "Then the records are wrong. That human down there is one of them. He is a champion. And he is very much alive." In the cells below, Tay sat on his bed. He could not sleep. Every night memories came to him, memories of Earth, memories of the war, memories of his team. He remembered the training. 20 years of hell they had pushed their bodies beyond normal limits. They had learned to fight with every weapon, to think 3 moves ahead of any enemy, to turn their fear into fuel. He remembered his commander, a woman named Lieutenant Park. She had been tough, fair. She had treated all 100 champions like her own children. She had died on Earth fighting until the very end. He remembered his team, 5 Other champions who had been assigned to his unit, they had been his family, his brothers and sisters. They had laughed together, played together, and when Earth fell, they had died together while he was away on a mission. A sound pulled him from his memories. He opened his eyes and saw young Jin standing outside his cell. The boy was alone. He held a bottle of water and some bread. "My mother sent food," Jin said quietly. "She is working late in the medical bay." Tae stood up and walked to the bars. He took the food. "Thank you, Jin." The boy did not leave. He stood there staring at Tae with wide eyes. "You want to ask me something?" Tae said. Jin nodded. "Is it true? What did slaves say, that you are a real Earth warrior? A champion?" Tae was quiet for a moment, then he said, "Yes, it is true. Will you teach me?" Jin asked suddenly. "Will you teach me to fight like you?" "Why?" Tae asked. "Because I am tired of being afraid," Jin said. His young voice shook, but his eyes were determined. "I am tired of watching my mother bow to the Vorthak. I am tired of being a slave. I want to learn to be strong like you." Tae looked at the boy for a long moment. Jin was only 10 years old, but he had the same fire in his eyes that Tae remembered from his own training days. The same hunger to be more than what the galaxy said he was. "I can teach you some things," Tae said. "But you must promise me something. You must never use what I teach you unless you have no other choice. Fighting is not about being strong, it is about protecting what matters. Do you understand?" Jin nodded quickly. "I understand." For the next week, late at night when the guards were not watching, Tae taught Jin through the bars of his cell. He showed him how to stand, how to move, how to breathe, how to turn his small size into an advantage. Jin learned quickly. He had good instincts. Other prisoners watched. Some laughed, some were curious, but the old scarred alien in the next cell watched with knowing eyes. "You are giving him hope," the alien said one night after Jin left. "Hope is all we have," Tae replied. "Hope gets people killed," the alien said. "So does having no hope." Tae answered. The day came for Tae to fight. Had ever been. Every seat was full. Beings had paid triple the normal price just to get in. Even wealthy merchants and ship captains had come to watch. In the front row sat Commander Ralkish. He had invited other Vorthak commanders to watch. He wanted them to see what happened when humans got too confident. He wanted them to see the human defeated. Brudak was a Krell warrior, but bigger than any Krell Tae had seen before. He stood 3 m tall. His scales were thick as armor. His arms were like tree trunks. He had fought 200 matches and won every single one. He had killed 93 opponents and crippled the rest. When Brudak entered the arena, the ground shook with his footsteps. The crowd roared his name. He raised his massive fists and bellowed at the sky. Then Tae walked out from the other gate. He looked small next to Brudak, fragile. The crowd laughed. This would be quick but high watching. From the medical bay window, with Jen did not laugh. She held her son's hand tight and prayed to God she was not sure existed anymore. The fight began. Brudak charged. He was fast for something so big. His fist came down like a hammer. Tae rolled aside. The fist hit the sand and left a crater. Brudak swung again and again. Each blow was strong enough to kill, but Tae was never where the blows landed. He moved like water, like wind, always one Step ahead, stand still and fight. Brudok roared. The crowd began to notice. The human was not attacking, he was just avoiding, moving, watching, learning Brudok's patterns. 5 minutes passed. Brudok was breathing hard. He had thrown 50 punches and hit nothing but sand and air. His anger grew. He charged again, swinging wild. This time Tay did not dodge. He stepped forward inside Brudok's reach. His fist struck Brudok's knee. There was a crack. Brudok stumbled. Tay moved like lightning. He hit Brudok's other knee. Then his hip. Then his elbow. Each strike was precise. Perfect. Hitting weak points that most fighters did not even know existed. Brudok fell to one knee. The crowd gasped. Their champion was down, but Tay did not finish him. He stepped back and waited. Get up, Tay said. Brudok looked up at him confused. Why do you not kill me? Because this is not about killing, Tay said. This is about showing them we can be better than what they make us. Brudok tried to stand, but his legs would not hold him. He fell back down. The crowd did not know how to react. Some cheered, some booed, some just sat in shocked silence. Tay turned and walked toward the exit gate. The fight was over. He had won. In his box, Ralkesh stood slowly. His face was dark with anger. The other Vorthak commanders looked uncomfortable. This was not what they had expected to see. Find out everything about that human, Ralkesh said to his officer. I want to know what he is, what he was, and how we can break him. In the medical bay, Hai hugged Jin tight. Tears ran down her face. He won, she whispered. He actually won. Jin looked up at her. He is teaching me to be like him. Mother, so I can protect you. Hai pulled back, surprised. What? Late at night. He teaches me through the bars how to fight, how to be strong. Jin's young face was serious. I am going to be a champion too, like him. Hai did not know whether to be proud or terrified. She looked back at the arena, where guards were helping Brudok limp away. Tay had shown mercy. He had won without killing. He had proven that humans could be strong without being cruel. But Hai knew the Vorthak. She knew Ralkesh. They would not accept this. They would not let a human embarrass them. They would find a way to hurt Tay, to break him. That night, the old alien in the next cell spoke to Tay again. You made them look weak today, he said. That is dangerous. I know, Tay replied. They will come for you soon. They will try to destroy you. Let them try. The old alien was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I told you my name once. It is Gorth. I was a soldier, a good one, but I have been in this cage for 10 years. I forgot what it was like to see someone fight with honor. He paused. Thank you for reminding me, Tay nodded. In the darkness. Thank you for telling me, Gorth. In the command center above Ralkesh. Read the reports his researchers had found. His hands shook with rage. The human was not just a survivor. He was a weapon built to fight entire armies. And somehow, impossibly, he was still alive. Prepare a message to High Command, Ralkesh said. Tell them we have a problem. The message from Vorthak High Command came 3 days later. It was short and clear. Tay was to be executed publicly, immediately. Commander Ralkesh read the message twice, then he smiled. This was good. But he could make it better. He could turn this execution into Something that would break the spirit of every human in the galaxy. He called for his security chief. Bring me all the human slaves on this station. All of them, all of them. Commander, there are 23, all of them. Rallikish repeated, put them in. Detention cell 7. The one with the viewing screen. I want them to watch what happens next. That night soldiers came to the medical bay. They grabbed Hai while she was working. She screamed and fought, but they were too strong. They dragged her and Jin down to the detention cells. Other humans were already there. Scared faces, confused voices. What is happening? Hai asked an old man she knew. I do not know, he said. They just grabbed us all. The door opened and more humans were pushed in, a woman, 2 young men, an elderly couple. All the humans from the station gathered in one place. Then the viewing screen on the wall turned on. It showed Tei's cell. He stood at the bars watching guards approach. No, I whispered. She pressed her hands against the screen. No, please. The guards opened Tei's cell and put him in chains. They dragged him out. The view screen followed him through the corridors. Jin pulled on his mother's arm. Where are they taking him? I could not answer. Tears ran down her face. The screen showed Tei being brought to the main arena. But this time, the arena was different. 50 battle droids stood in a circle. Behind them were 20 Vorthax soldiers with plasma rifles. The crowd was smaller today. This was not entertainment. This was an execution. Commander Ralkish's voice came through speakers in the detention cell. Humans of Prime Station Coulter, watch carefully. This is what happens when your kind tries to rise above their place. This is what happens when you forget that Earth is dead and you are nothing. The chains were removed from Tei. He stood alone in the center of the arena, surrounded, outnumbered, unarmed. You will fight, Ralkish announced through the arena speakers. 50 droids, 20 soldiers. When you die, your body will be left in the sand for 3 days as a warning, and after you are dead, I will personally hunt down every human refugee in this sector. Your death will be the beginning of the end for your pathetic species. In the detention cell, Jin pushed forward. We have to help him. We cannot, the old man said, pulling Jin back. There is nothing we can do, but Jin looked at his mother. He taught me, mother, he taught me to fight, to be brave. We cannot just watch him die. On the screen, Tei looked up at the cameras. He knew they were watching. He knew all the humans on the station could see him. And he smiled. Not a happy smile. A warrior's smile. I am Tei, he said. Loudly, his voice echoed through the arena. Champion Commander of Earth Defense Force 4th Division, I am the last of 100 champions who were sworn to protect humanity. He paused. Earth may be gone, but we are not. He touched something on his arm, something under his skin, and his body changed. The watching humans gasped. Even Rilkesh stood up in his command box. Eyes wide, Tei's muscles expanded. His eyes began to glow with a faint light. His movements became faster, sharper. The combat augmentations that had been sleeping in his body for 300 years woke up. His training, his enhancements, his true purpose as a champion all came flooding back. He had been holding back in every fight, hiding what he really was, but now there was no reason to hide anymore. All stations in range, Tay said. Looking at the cameras, all humans. Listening. Remember this moment. Remember that we do not surrender. We do not give up. We are the children of Earth, and we will never stop fighting for our freedom. The battle droids attacked first. They moved fast, firing energy weapons, but Tay was faster. He moved between the blasts like he could see them coming. His hand struck out and droids fell, their metal bodies broken. The Vortex soldiers fired their plasma rifles. The arena filled with bright light and heat, but Tay was already moving. He reached the first soldier and took his weapon. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 soldiers down. Rokesh watched from his command box, his face growing pale. This is not possible. He is just one human, one. But Tay was not fighting like one human. He was fighting like an army. Every move was perfect. Every strike was lethal. He turned the droids' weapons against them. He used the soldiers' tactics against themselves. He moved like death itself. In the detention cell, the humans watched in silence. Then Jin spoke, his voice small but clear. He is winning. Yes, I whispered. He is. The fight lasted 15 minutes. When it ended, all 50 droids were destroyed. All 20 soldiers were dead. And Tay stood in the center of the arena, breathing hard but still standing, still alive. The arena was silent. Then, from somewhere in the crowd, someone cheered. Another voice joined. Then more. Even non-humans began to cheer. They had never seen anyone fight like this. It was beautiful, terrible, impossible. But Rallykish was not finished. He activated the arena defense systems. Heavy guns dropped from the ceiling. Automated turrets rose from the walls. If you will not die in battle, then you will die like a rat in a trap. The guns opened fire. But Tay moved. He grabbed a dead soldier's shield and used it to block the shots. He ran toward the nearest wall using destroyed droids as cover. The guns tracked him, but he was too fast. He reached the wall and climbed. The augmentations in his body made him strong enough to pull himself up the stone. The gun swiveled to follow, but he was already moving. He jumped from the wall to a support beam, then to another, working his way up toward the command level. Rallykish's eyes went wide. He is coming here. Guards stop him. More soldiers rush into the corridors. But Tay fought through them. He was unstoppable now. The champion that had been trained to fight armies was finally unleashed. He smashed through a doorway and into a control room. His hands moved across the command panels. He knew military systems. He had been trained on them. In seconds, he found what he needed, the communication system. He activated it. Every speaker on the station came to life. Every screen, every channel. Across Prime Station Coulter, millions of beings heard his voice. People of the galaxy, Tay said, my name is Tay. I'm the last champion of Earth. For 300 years, you have been told that humans are weak, that we are finished, that we deserve to be slaves. His voice was hard, strong. That is a lie. He looked directly at the camera. Humanity is not dead. We are scattered. We are hiding. But we are still here, and I am here too. Tell every human listening. It is time to stop hiding. It is time to remember who we are. Across the station and factories and kitchens and maintenance tunnels, human slaves stopped working. They looked at screens and listened. Some cried. Some smiled. All of them felt something they had not felt in years. Hope. We are the children of Earth, Tay continued. We built ships that touched the stars. We created art that moved the soul. We fought wars that shaped the galaxy. And yes, we lost our home world, but that does not mean we have lost ourselves. In the detention cell, Jen watched his hero with shining eyes. Hai held her son, close, tears streaming down her face. To all humans hearing this, Tay said, "Do not give up, do not surrender. Survive, endure, and when the time comes, rise up, because I promise you we will be free again. Earth may be gone, but humanity will never die." The screen went black as Ralkesh cut the signal. He stood in his command room, shaking with rage. Find him now and kill him. But Tay was already gone, disappearing into the station's vast network of tunnels and passages, and his message had been sent across Prime Station Coulter, across the sector, across the galaxy. Millions of humans had heard, and they remembered what it meant to be human. In the detention cell, an alarm sounded. The door locks disengaged. Tay had freed them. Jen looked at his mother. What do we do now? Hai looked at the other humans, at their scared faces, at their new hope. She thought about Tay's words about surviving, about enduring. Now she said, we run, we hide, and we wait for our chance to be free. Outside in the station's corridors, Tay moved through the shadows. He was hurt, bleeding but alive, and he had one more thing to do before this night was over. He had to find Ralkesh. The message spread like fire across the galaxy. Within hours, every human in 3 sectors had heard Tay's words. Some cried when they heard it, some refused to believe it, but all of them felt something stir inside, something they thought had died with Earth. On a mining colony in the outer reach, a human slave named Dongwu heard the message. He had been breaking rocks for 15 years. He looked at the guard standing over him. For the first time in 15 years, he smiled. On a cargo ship traveling through the dark belt, a human crew member named Subin heard the message. She had been serving alien masters her whole life. She went to her quarters and dug out an old photo of Earth she had kept hidden. She had forgotten she even had it. On 3 different worlds, human slaves began to whisper, to plan, to hope. And on Prime Station Coulter, chaos erupted. Tay moved through the maintenance tunnels like a ghost. He knew Ralkesh would be in the command center, surrounded by guards, protected by the best security the Vorthak military could provide. But Tay had fought through worse. He reached the detention level first. The 23 humans were gone, escaped into the station. Good. Now he could finish this without worrying about them. He found the armory. The guards were distracted, watching news feeds of the riots beginning across the galaxy. Tay slipped inside and took what he needed: body armor, weapons, medical supplies for his wounds. In the command center, Ralkesh paced back and forth. Reports were flooding in from across the Empire. Human uprising, slave rebellions, acts of sabotage, all inspired by one human's words. Find him, Ralkesh snarled at his officers. I want every soldier on this station looking for that human. I want him dead. But Tay found them first. He entered the command center through a ventilation shaft. He dropped into the room like a shadow. 3 guards fell before anyone realized. He was there. His stolen rifle fired with perfect accuracy. 4 more guards down, Ralkesh spun around reaching for his weapon, but Tay was already there, his rifle pointed at the commander's head. "Do not move," Tay said. The remaining officers froze, Tay back toward the control panel, keeping his weapon trained on Ralkesh. With his free hand he worked the controls. "What are you doing?" Ralkesh demanded. "Ending this," Tay said. He activated the station's emergency systems. Alarms blared. Escape pods began to launch automatically. The detention cells all opened at once, releasing every prisoner in the arena complex. "You are destroying everything," Ralkesh said. "I am giving people a choice," Tay replied. "Something you never understood." He backed toward the door, still covering the Vortex soldiers. "Tell your high command something for me, Ralkesh. Tell them that humanity is not finished. Tell them that we will never stop fighting, and tell them that if they come for us again, they will face more than one champion. There is only one of you," Ralkesh spat. "You are the last, for now," Tay said. "But I will teach others. I will train them. I will make new champions. And we will be ready." He threw a smoke grenade. The room filled with gray clouds. When it cleared, Tay was gone. But he had one more stop to make. The arena detention cells. High and Jin would try to reach the escape pods, but he had to make sure they made it. He found them in a corridor near the docking bay. Hai was leading a group of 12 humans toward the pods. Jin was helping an elderly woman walk. When they saw Tay, Jin's face lit up. "You came," the boy shouted. "I promised I would teach you," Tay said, checking the corridor behind them. "That means keeping you alive." Explosions rocked the station. Ralkesh was sending soldiers to seal off the escape routes. They were running out of time. "This way," Tay said, leading them down a side passage. He knew the station layout from memory, every corridor, every exit. Champions were trained to memorize environments instantly. They reached a small docking bay. A Vortex shuttle sat waiting, its engine still warm. Tay broke into it quickly, as training making the locks easy. "Everyone inside," he ordered. The humans climbed aboard. Hai counted heads: 12 adults, 5 children, including Jin, all terrified but alive. "What about you?" Hai asked Tay. "I will fly you out of here," Tay said, moving to the pilot's seat. "Then we disappear, find somewhere safe." "Where?" Hai asked. "The Vortex control everything." "Not everything," Tay said. He started the shuttle's engines. "There are places, hidden colonies, free zones, I know where some are." The shuttle lifted off. Tay flew through the docking bay doors. Just as they began to close, plasma fire streaked past them from station defense guns, but Tay had flown combat ships before. He twisted and rolled, dodging the shots. They broke free of the station and jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind them, Prime Station Coulter burned, not from damage but from chaos. Prisoners were escaping. Guards were overwhelmed, and across the galaxy, the message continued to spread. Inside the shuttle, the humans sat in shocked silence. They were free. Actually free. After years of slavery, they could barely believe it. Jin sat next to Tay in the cockpit. "Where are we going?" "There is a place," Tay said. Far from Vortex Space, a hidden moon, called Haven, other humans have gathered. There over the years, we will be safe. Will you stay with us? Jin asked. Tay was quiet for a moment. Then he said, for a while. I will teach you, train you, make sure you can defend yourselves. And then, Jin asked, then I will find more humans, free more slaves, spread the message until every human in the galaxy knows they do not have to live in fear. Behind them, Hai listened. She came forward and put her hand on Tay's shoulder. You do not have to do this alone. I am the last champion, Tay said. This is my duty. You were the last champion, Hai said. But you will not be the last defender of humanity. You will train others. You will teach us and we will help. You, Tay looked at her, at the determination in her eyes, at the other humans behind her, all watching him with hope. Maybe she was right, maybe he did not have to carry this burden alone anymore. The shuttle flew through the darkness of space. Inside, humans who had been slaves just hours before now planned for a future they never thought they would have. 10 years passed. Haven Moon had grown. What started as a small refugee camp had become a thriving colony. 2,000 humans now lived there. They had built homes, farms, schools, and most importantly, they had built a training center. Tay stood in that training center now, watching 50 young humans practice combat forms. Jin was among them, now 20 years old and one of the best fighters in the group. He taught the younger students with patience and skill. Shai approached Tay with a data pad. More reports, 3 more human groups have made contact. They want to join us. That makes 47 free human communities across the galaxy now. 47, Tay repeated. Good, it is more than good, I said. It is a miracle. 10 years ago we were scattered and broken. Now we have hope, we have a future. Tay watched Jin demonstrate a defensive technique to a teenage girl. The girl's name was Minji. She had been rescued from a slave ship 2 years ago. Now she trained to help rescue others. They are ready, Tay said. Ready for what? I asked, though she knew the answer. To fight back, Tay said, not with violence unless necessary, but to resist, to help other humans escape, to build more safe places. A young man approached them. His name was Junho. He had been born on Haven, had never known slavery. Commander Tay, the new students are ready for their first lesson. I will be there soon, Tay said. Junho saluted and left. Hai smiled. They call you commander now. Like the old days. I am not there. Commander Tay said, I am their teacher. There is a difference, is there? Hai asked. They would follow you anywhere. You know that. Tay looked around the training center, at all the young faces, the determination in their eyes. They reminded him of his old team, the champions who had died defending Earth. I failed them once, Tay said quietly. My team, I was not there when they knighted me. You did not fail anyone, Hai said firmly. You survived, and because you survived, all of us survived. 2,000 humans are free because of you. Thousands more have hope because of you. Tay was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Earth is gone. The old champions are gone, but maybe we can build something new, something better. We already are, Hai said. That evening, Tay stood on a hill overlooking Haven Colony. He could see the lights of homes, hear the sounds of children playing, smell food cooking. Jin found them There, the young man stood beside his old teacher looking out at their home. "Do you ever regret it?" Jin asked. "Rescuing us, you could have stayed. Hidden, stayed safe." "No," Tay said. "Champions do not fight to stay safe. We fight to protect others. That is the only thing that matters. That is what you taught me," Jin said. "That is what I will teach my students." Tay looked at him. Jin was not a child anymore. He was a warrior, a protector, a new champion. "For a new age, you will teach them." "Well," Tay said. They stood together in silence, watching the colony. Somewhere out there in the vast darkness of space, other humans were still enslaved, still suffering, still waiting for hope. But that hope was coming, slowly, carefully. One rescued human at a time. Earth was gone. The old champions were dead, but humanity endured, not because they were the strongest species, not because they were the smartest, but because they refused to give up. They refused to surrender. They refused to forget who they were. Tay touched the old scar on his arm, a reminder of Earth.